Hi people, a very warm welcome to session. I'm Ankana, your master teacher for social sciences at Vedantu. Hoping all of you doing absolutely amazing. Do tell me how are you guys? What's up with you guys in the comment section? Let's quickly get started with our new chapter, Map of India, where we only have to focus on the map work. Yeah. So we'll start with the very first thing called latitudes and longitude, where we will be looking at the longitudinal and latitudinal extent of our country. But before that, let's quickly brush up. What do we mean by latitude and longitude? Do you know? Do tell me. Guys, so basically latitude and longitude is a simple system of lines which has been designed over the entire globe, okay, horizontally and vertically for the easiness of our understanding in terms of locating a place on the surface of the earth. So the lines which are drawn from north to south, which gives us the length, okay, is known as longitudes, length, long, yeah, and the other ones which goes from east to west is known as latitudes. So let's quickly look at the extent of, the latitudinal and longitudinal extent of the country. So it starts from 68 degrees 7 minutes east, goes up till 97 degree 25 minutes east, and over here it starts from 8 degree 4 minutes north to 37 degrees 6 minutes north. Yeah, so this is your basically the longitudinal, and so this is your longitudinal and this is your latitudinal extent of the country. If you look, the width is somewhere around 30 degree both ways. So that ways the length and the width from edge to edge of a country is somewhat similar. Okay, now there's another very important latitude that passes through our country, and there is one more longitude also which is of great importance. Let's see how and why. So Bacha, Tropic of Cancer, as you can see over here, is the latitude which passes through our country, which is of great importance, which is at 23.5 degree north, sorry, not east, north, yeah, and it kind of divides the entire country into two halves of north and northern and southern hemisphere. Yeah, not it basically is dividing the country in equal halves is what I wanted to quickly highlight. Moving on to the important longitude, IST, which stands for Indian Standard Time. Bacha, 82.5 degree east is very important longitude for us, because the time zone of the entire country, the time that is followed through the entire country has been determined by this longitude. So as I told you, the entire globe has been divided by multiple longitudes and latitudes, right? So these longitudes help us in determining the time around everywhere. So the entire earth has been divided into different time zones. And how do we determine the time? So almost every time zone, each and every area which falls under a particular time zone, the central longitude that passes through that zone is taken as the point of reference, and as for that, the time of that particular time zone is determined. And the same thing happens with India also. So 82.5 degree east divides the whole country in almost equal halves, and that's why we take this line, this longitude, as our point of reference for determining the time of the country. Right next to it, not right next to it, a little away from it is your 90 degree east longitude. Yeah, now your question for homework, a task for you is that ma'am is going to give you, you have to tell me which is that longitude that passes through 0 degree and what is its name, and which is the place that it passes from. Make sure guys you're telling me in the comment section what is the name of the longitude that passes through 0 degree and what is the place that it passes through. Okay, now let's have a quick look at a physical map of India. First, let's understand what do we mean by physical map. But a physical map is a map which shows the physical divisions, the geographical features of a country, and that map is known as a physical map. As you can see right over here, this map highlights all the geographical features of the country. Right over here we have Himalayas, over here we can see the Indo-Gangetic plains, here is the Thar desert, Western Ghats, Eastern Ghats, Chota Nagpur Plateau, Deccan Plateau, all these Satpura range, Bundelkhand is a place, Pir Panjal range, Karakoram, everything is right over here, Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal, Lakshadweep, all of this, Andaman and Nicobars, Tropic of Cancer, everything is right over here. All the physical features of the India, of the country has also been highlighted in this map. Okay, now what is a political map? So different from this, political map shows the political division of the country. Like this map, physical map is showing the physical division of the country. Political map, bacha, will be showing the political division of the country, internal and external, the boundaries, internal boundaries in terms of states, external boundaries in terms of, international boundaries. Okay, now let's have a quick look at a map where we will be able to identify the physical divisions, the peninsular region, the Indo-Gangetic Brahmaputra plains, Himalayas, coastal plains and desert. So bacha, you may be given a map and would be asked to highlight this or locate this. What are you supposed to do? Or maybe it would be highlighted, you would be asked to identify it. You basically should be aware which part of the country is which physical division. So this part, see, as you saw initially itself, this part right over here is your Himalayan range. So it starts from the northern part, the entire north of the country from towards the east is your Himalayan range. See, this range runs from here till here, but because Nepal is not a part of the country, we see that there is a gap over here, but the range is right from here. So if you mark this entire stretch, it wouldn't be wrong. Right at the bottom of your Himalayan range on the foothills are your northern plains. Now, one very easy way to remember this, the rivers that is coming from these mountains, the northern, the Himalayan ranges, they are bringing everything, all the soil, silt, clay along with it from the mountains and depositing it at its foothill, which is forming the northern plains where we find alluvial soil, which is very, very fertile. Now, because in a way, I'm giving a short trick, because this water is not able to reach over here, this land is left dry. So you can remember this is desert. Rajasthan, the area which is kind of under Rajasthan is your Thar desert. Now, but you're right over here, imagine a line which is separating this and dividing the India, the southern part of India in an inverted triangular form like this. Okay. Now what is happening over here? Right after northern plains starts our peninsular region. Now what do we mean by peninsula? Peninsula is a landmass which is surrounded by water on three sides. So if you look at the southern part of the country, it is surrounded by water on three sides. So that is why this part is known as peninsular region. But what kind of physical feature is there? So it is a plateau. Now what do we mean by plateau? Plateau is basically flat highlands. So these are flat, which makes it related to plains. Okay, because plains are plain, and because it is at a slight elevation, not so down like plains, it is kind of similar to Himalayas, mountains. So that is why it is known as plateaus, which are basically kind of high elevated tabletops, as you can describe it, highlands which are slightly elevated. So these are your plateau, peninsular plateau region, and at the edge of the entire plateau, because of the water, are our coasts, and plain kind of structure is formed over there. We have plains right around the edges. So this is our coastal plain. So over here also we don't have elevation, we just have plains, and because of the coast. So the edges of your peninsular plateau region is basically coastal plains. Now you might have noticed earlier that over here it says northern plains, but we were talking about it as Indo-Gangetic Brahmaputra river plains. Why is that? Bacha, because this entire major river system which covers the entire northern part, the Himalayan rivers, is a whole system of Indus, Ganga and Brahmaputra. So its tributaries and the main river system which is forming the plains over here. So this northern plains is also known as Indo-Gangetic Brahmaputra plain. Okay. Now let's have a quick look at the mountains and plateaus that we are supposed to cover. So we're supposed to cover the Himalayas, Karakoram, Aravalli, Vindhyas, Kaimur, Satpura, Western Ghats, Eastern Ghats, Nilgiris, Chota Nagpur Plateau, Malwa Plateau, Deccan Plateau, K2, which is Mount Godwin Austen, Kanchenjunga and Thar Desert. So let's quickly get started. I have already highlighted it for you. So these yellow part over here which you see is your Himalayas. Let me again run you through this so that it's kind of easier for you to understand. So this part, bacha, is your Himalayas. However, Himalayas is right from here. So this entire part will be our Himalayas, right? We saw that in the beginning itself. This entire stretch is Himalayas, beginning from north, moving towards east, coming to the southern eastern part as well. Okay, towards the absolute eastern boundary point of the country. Then over here, guys, you have your Karakoram range. Okay, Karakoram range is basically a point in the north where the Pakistan, India, and China borders are there. It's right over there, begins from there and moves towards this side. Yeah, see Pakistan point over here, boundary. I mean over here. This is India and this is China. In Karakoram range, we have K2, which also we are supposed to cover, Mount Godwin, Austin. K2 is the highest point of this range, highest peak of this range, and you would be amazed to know that K2 is actually the second highest peak of the entire world. Okay, so with that we have done Karakoram. We have range is bacha a stretch, so that is why you'll have to mark the entire thing. But if it comes to marking K2, then you'll have to mark a particular point which is right over here. Okay, this particular point is your K2. So in your Karakoram range, you'll have to mark, one second, K2. So over here you'll have to mark like this, and you can put it as K2. Okay, then after that comes our, so Kanchenjunga is also what we are supposed to cover. So Kanchenjunga bacha is right over here, this triangular, as you can see. You'll just have to mark it in Sikkim. Okay, so Kanchenjunga will be in your in Sikkim, right over here in your Himalayan range. Okay, so we are done with K2, we are done with the Karakoram ranges, we are done with the whole Himalayan stretch, whole Himalayan range, and then over here we have Kanchenjunga in Sikkim. Now let's move to Aravalli. So I have already marked Aravalli for you. The easiest way of remembering this is that southern of Delhi and Haryana starts Aravalli, and it passes through Rajasthan and eastern ends on Gujarat, the slightly eastern part of Gujarat. See, this is the western part, so this is your eastern part. So it starts from Rajasthan and then goes to Gujarat and ends over there. Okay, then we have our Vindhya range. So bacha, Vindhya range is basically over here, starts somewhere around MP and moves towards Bihar. Okay, moves towards Bihar but does not reach completely over there, and that's your range. When you go a little eastern to your Vindhya range, over here we have our Kaimur range. Okay, so this is I actually made a mistake. I wanted to say Kaimur range actually starts from the portion right eastern to your Vindhya range, as I said, right, but it begins from MP and goes towards Bihar, because Bihar is over here, not over here. Vindhya range exactly starts from a little lower than the border of Rajasthan and Gujarat, so it will be somewhere between Gujarat and Rajasthan and goes towards your MP, and then there's a little gap, and then from that towards the eastern side from MP begins your Kaimur range and goes till Bihar, right over here. Okay, then over here, people, we have our Satpura range, which begins from the eastern of Gujarat, running through border of Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh to the east till Chhattisgarh. Okay, till Chhattisgarh it runs. Guys, you do not have to be very precise. See, if you already have been given a physical map where these ranges are already there, all you need to do is trace it, like how I am tracing it right now. All you need to do is just trace it. Okay, and if it is not given to you already, then you will have to draw it, for which you have to roughly remember which states it is related to, and then you can do a rough placement of it, not very up and down, and you will be given marks for that. Yeah, okay, so we are done with Aravalli, we are done with Vindhya, we are done with Kaimur, we are done with Satpura. Let's quickly move to Nilgiri over here. Here we have our Nilgiri hills. Okay, simple way of remembering it: Ooty, Kunnur, all of these hill stations you must have heard, they're so famous. Where are they? They are in Tamil Nadu, and that is exactly where Nilgiri hills are, because these hill stations are a part of Nilgiri hills. Okay, so here we have our Nilgiri hills. Then let's come to the Deccan Plateau. Over here, bacha, we have our Deccan Plateau. Okay, right over here. And these are your western and eastern Ghats. What are western and eastern Ghats? Ghats, the coastal region of the west and the east. This is the easiest to remember. You will just trace the coast a little inner side. These Ghats formed by the coast is known as the western Ghats, and this is your eastern Ghat. Okay. Over here, as you see, a little bit of Maharashtra, a little bit of Karnataka, a little bit of Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh. This entire range is your Deccan Plateau. Then we have our Chota Nagpur Plateau over here, which is parts of Orissa, West Bengal, Jharkhand, and a little bit of Chhattisgarh. Okay, so you just have to make a circular drawing over here, trace it like this, covering the parts of these states. That will be your Chota Nagpur Plateau. Then we have our Malwa Plateau right over here, which covers certain districts of western Madhya Pradesh. So Madhya Pradesh is over here. You will not cover the entire stretch. Some western parts of Madhya Pradesh, then parts of southeast, basically this border southern part of Rajasthan is your Malwa Plateau. So with this, I think we have covered pretty much everything which is related to mountains and plateaus. Let's quickly move on to the Indian passes. So, Bacha, what are Indian passes? Passes are basically paths in the mountains which are linking the country to another country, creating a sort of a pass between these two countries. So, the very first pass which we have over here is Karakoram Pass. So, you can just either mark it like this, or just highlight it over there, the stretch. But your Karakoram Pass, as the name suggests, is part of the Karakoram range, okay, which means it's towards the Jammu and Kashmir, and it connects India to China through the Karakoram ranges. Okay, so Karakoram Pass is basically a part of the Karakoram ranges which connects India to China in Jammu and Kashmir. Then we have Nathula Pass. Okay, so here we have Nathula Pass, which you will be drawing in Sikkim. Okay, eastern district of Sikkim is where this pass is. So over here, this state is your Sikkim. You just have to make a pass on the eastern side. Now you might be thinking, ma'am, what pass is this connecting to? So bacha, the thing is that both the passes, whether it is Karakoram Pass or Nathula Pass, both the passes connect India to China. Just that over here, it's just connecting to China. Over here, this connects us to China's Tibetan Autonomous Region. Okay, so it is basically a pass in the Himalayas, in the eastern side of Sikkim, which connects India to China's Tibetan Autonomous Region. Okay, so with this we are done with the two passes also. Let's quickly move on to the Indian plains. So we have to basically cover two plains, bacha, Indo-Gangetic Plain, which is Indo-Gangetic Brahmaputra Plain, and the coastal plains, wherein we also have to locate these particular coasts. Okay, so you know already, let me quickly switch this. So guys, you know already, right, that we have to cover, we have already done northern plains. That is what our Indo-Gangetic Plain is also. And I'm trying to continuously switch it to highlighter, which is not happening, and that's why I'm a little distracted, and I'm done. So right over here, this region is our Indo-Gangetic Plain. As you might be able to see that a certain part of the plain is also going to Pakistan, right? Because we have the rivers flowing, the Indus River especially flows from here to here, right? It flows from here to here. So this part is also being covered by that, but majorly our northern plains is our Indo-Gangetic Plain, which will be marking Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and it goes towards this area. Okay? So this stretch is your Indo-Gangetic Plain. Then the rest is your western and coastal plain. So this entire stretch, guys, as you can see, this entire black line that I'm tracing is your coastal plain. And if you're asked to do this, just mark the eastern and western coastal plains. All you have to do is this. Okay, Western Ghats, Eastern Ghats, similarly mark the western coastal plains and eastern coastal plains because it is on the coast, but the land mass is the plain, right? So that is your eastern and western coastal plain. Then on these plains we have certain coasts. So then we have Konkan coast where it begins over here. Then Kannada coast, how do you remember? See, Kannada, Karnataka related, right? Karnataka states, right over here is your Kannada coast. Malabar is in Kerala. So over here you'll mark Malabar coast. Coromandel, Tamil Nadu. Coromandel is your over here, and at this stretch near this you'll have northern Sircar coast. Okay, so with this we are done with the plains and of both Gangetic, Indo-Gangetic and coastal plains of eastern side and western sides, and we have also looked at these certain coasts. Now let's quickly look at the water body. So we'll be doing Gulf of Kutch, Khambat, Mannar, Palk Strait, Andaman Sea, Chilka Lake and Wular Lake. So what you're supposed to do over here is, guys, just point these things out. Okay, so if I begin with Wular Lake, it is in Jammu and Kashmir over here. Okay, so what you have to do is mark it over here, and it is on your Indus. Okay, so on Indus in Jammu and Kashmir, you have to mark Wular Lake, and here is your Wular Lake, as I told you, in Jammu and Kashmir. Then we have our Chilka Lake over here towards Bay of Bengal in Orissa is your Chilka Lake. Okay, then of course we have our Andaman Sea. Very easy, Andaman and Nicobar, you already know. Just a little towards eastern side of these islands stretch, put a point or just simply write Andaman Sea, and you can kind of shade this area if you don't want to be very specific. So we're done with Andaman, Chilka and Wular. Now let's talk about the Gulfs. Okay, so Gulf of Kutch is right over here. Which state? Gujarat. So right over here, next, in Gujarat, you'll be marking like this point is your Gulf of Kutch. Then over here, this cavity towards the bottom of Gujarat only is your Gulf of Khambat. Okay, then Gulf of Mannar and Palk Strait are very easy to remember. So the stretch of islands which connect the southern part, the boundaries of our country to Sri Lanka, that stretch is what separates Palk Strait and Gulf of Mannar. On the top, on the eastern side, you will mark Palk Strait, and on the western side, the southern side, you will mark Gulf of Mannar. Okay, so with this, now we are going to move to Indian rivers. So bacha, for Indian rivers, you'll already be given it. You just have to trace it. Okay, so make sure you are tracing it with a darker shade, and at the same time labeling it as well. Okay, and let me quickly get a blue shade, and let's start with Indus. So as you see, Indus starts over here, goes through Jammu and Kashmir, and then takes a southern turn and flows to Pakistan. So this is our Indus, this is our river Indus. Okay, starts in Tibet, passes through Jammu and Kashmir, passes India through Jammu and Kashmir, and then takes a U-turn and flows to Pakistan. Okay, then we have its whole set of tributaries. We have Ravi, Satluj, Jhelum, Chenab, all of this, Beas, all of these rivers are tributaries of Indus, but we just have to cover Jhelum and Satluj. So right over here, the very first one is your Jhelum, okay, tributary, which starts over here, and as you can see, and you have to trace it from here, right over here, it joins Indus over here. So this entire stretch is your Jhelum. Then similarly, Satluj is over here, bacha, it starts from here and comes till here. So the first one, the very first tributary is your Jhelum, and right the bottom one is your Satluj. Easy way to remember, which is going to ultimately join Indus. Okay, then we have Ganga. So if you see, bacha, Ganga is marked over here and shows that it starts from here, so we'll be marking it till here. Yeah, so we are marking it here, goes till here, and goes and flows into Bangladesh. Okay, so till Indian boundary we are going to mark Ganga. Now bacha, Ganga actually starts from the Gangotri glacier, but it doesn't start as Ganga. What happens is, in Uttarakhand, in Dev Prayag, there is a confluence of two rivers, Bhagirathi and Alaknanda. Right from there, we know Ganga as Ganga. Before it is Bhagirathi and Alaknanda. So here is your Ganga, right? Now we have to also cover its very important tributaries. Right parallel to it, towards here, is your Yamuna, very important tributary of Ganga, right over here. Okay, then we also have Gomti, Chambal and Betwa. So these rivers on the southern side, you see these two are your very important rivers. The Chambal, here is Chambal, and here is Betwa. Okay, so you can remember as A, just remember like that, and here you have B and then C. So B is Betwa, C is Chambal, which is going to go and join your Ganga over here. So if you see, bacha, Son and Damodar are also there, which are also tributaries of Ganga, which have now been removed from the syllabus, and we do not have to focus on it anymore. Then we have Ghagra also. You can see it begins from here and goes and joins the Ganga over here. So this is how you will be tracing Ghagra, okay, which is here. So that's there your Gomti, Chambal, Betwa, Ghagra and Yamuna, the very, very important tributaries of Ganga. So I would just suggest have a thorough look at Ganga and its tributaries, and the same with Indus. With Indus, we just have to cover two tributaries, the top one Jhelum and the bottom one Satluj. Okay, then for Ganga also you can remember two parallel, Ghagra and Yamuna, and then B and C go downside, which is your Betwa and Chambal. Okay, then we have Narmada. So bacha, now I'm going to do a quick division of the country for you. So you see, I told you Tropic of Cancer divide, so maybe you can remember it like that. So till now we were doing Himalayan rivers, right, which are not dependent on monsoon, which are perennial. Now we're going to focus on the peninsular rivers, which are non-perennial, which depends on the monsoon for their water throughout the year. So here starts your very first river, which is Narmada. Starts from the western side and starts flowing towards the eastern side till here, till Chhattisgarh side, that side, till that side it goes. Okay, then right bottom to it, parallel to it in a way, we have Tapti. So this is your Tapti river. Okay, then we have to cover also Mahanadi. Start somewhere here in Chhattisgarh, goes till here in Orissa, and then goes and joins Bay of Bengal. Okay, then similarly we have Godavari, starts somewhere here, I think that's Maharashtra, right, and then goes through this and goes and forms a delta over here, root-like structure, and joins Bay of Bengal. But one very easy thing, one point that helps us remember a lot with peninsular river is their flows are from west to east. Most of these peninsular rivers flow from west towards east. Okay, so we are done with Godavari now. Now we have to, let's quickly discuss Krishna. So you can see Krishna right over here, and then we also have another tributary, Tungabhadra, which we also have to cover. So the top one is your Krishna. Okay, starts from here, from west, moves to, again will go and join Bay of Bengal, get drained out over here, and the another river, the tributary which is joining it, is Tungabhadra over here, which I am not tracing properly, but yeah, this is how you're supposed to trace it and then name it Tungabhadra. And the last one is Kaveri, very well known to everyone because of the water dispute which happened between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, which means it starts in Karnataka and flows through Tamil Nadu and goes and gets drained out right over here. So starts somewhere here in Karnataka, flows through Tamil Nadu and gets drained out on the western side. Okay, so with this we are done with the rivers. Now let's quickly look at the direction of the monsoon winds. So we have to cover southwest monsoon winds in the Arabian Sea, the branches which is flowing through Arabian Sea, and also Bay of Bengal branch. So bacha, simply you just have to draw southern western winds. So it will be flowing in this direction. Make sure you're not just making one arrow but multiple parallel arrows to show the flow of the wind. So this is your Arabian part, and this is your Bay of Bengal part. Yeah. So this is how you will be making these arrows. Okay, so this is the direction of the southwest winds. It starts from the southern western sides and starts flowing. Also bacha, see, this is the low pressure region. So naturally what happens, how does the winds blow? The low pressure air will rise up, and the cold air is going to, the air filled up with moisture and everything is going to rush to fill in for it, and that's how the southern western monsoon winds flow towards this direction. So Arabian Sea will go towards the main mass land, and this will be flowing parallel to it. Okay, So with this, we are done with today's session. Let's quickly look at the homework question. But before that, I'm going to take one quick minute and talk about the problems faced by our dear students. Guys, we know you have constant struggles with how to clarify your doubts, when to clarify your doubts, what notes to refer to, how to make sure you are well prepared with your tests and assignments so that you are thorough for your board exams, for your final exams. Then we have constant competitive exams pressures. How do we also prep for it along with our regular exams? What schedule should we follow? And choice of language. So all of these problems have now been solved for you with Vedantu Pro subscription, and it comes with a lot of bonuses of unlimited live classes. If you've missed any class, you don't have to worry. You'll have constant micro sessions, which is going to give you a backup for that, just in case you're unwell. You don't have to worry, oh my god, how will I attend this session, how I'll miss the session, and then what will happen? You'll have constant micro sessions, which is going to help you cope for all those missed classes. Then of course, in class live performance reports with personalized attentions. All your doubts, all your clarifications, all your conversations can be taken care of in the session by class teachers and master teachers. And what could be more awesome than that? And all you need to do for this is go on this link, the link that is there in your description box or which is pinned in the comments, and go through the process. So you'll have to choose your grade, you'll have to choose your board. Check out all the details that's there, okay, and then select whatever plan is the most suitable for you. You'll have 3 options of 1 month, 3 months and 6 months. 1 month if you just want to give it a try, 6 months if you want to be with us for the longest time till your board exams and make sure that we get you through and we rock it in the exams. And if you feel 3 months is enough for you to prepare, then for 3 months. And all of the subscription comes at a very, very great discounted rate for you. All you need to do is use this code right over here, okay. So if you use AKEPRO, which is my code, you get some amazing discount on all the packages. If you go for the highest package, you get the highest discount, guys. I'm telling you, this is once in a lifetime opportunity. Don't miss it, okay. And here is your homework question. On the boundaries of which countries the Karakoram Pass is located? India and Pakistan, India and China, India and Bhutan, or India and Nepal? Make sure, guys, you are putting your answers, your responses in the comment section, not in the live chat. And along with your responses, make sure you're also putting your doubts if you have any, because that's where we pick our doubts from to clarify in the doubt and the mentee session. So with this, we come to today's end of today's session, and don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed today's session, guys, and make sure that you are subscribing to the channel so that the moment we come up with next video, you get the notification immediately. And I will see you in the next session. Till then, stay home, stay safe, and take care of yourself. Have a great day ahead. Bye, guys. Have a great day.